Welcome to the Let's Slow Down Summer Series. I'm your host, Anne-Marie, and I'm here to help you surrender to summer with short weekly podcasts that focus on adding simplicity and ease to your life. As a young podcast, it helps if listeners like you submit reviews and share the show. So please pass this along to a friend or share it on Instagram, tagging Let's Slow Down 2023. And if you're unsure how to write a review, if you're listening on Apple and you click on the podcast, just scroll down to the bottom and you'll see that you can rate and review right there. And you submit it to Apple, and it really helps the powers that be know that this is resonating and that you want to hear more from podcasts like this. So thank you. Welcome back to another summer episode of Let's Slow Down. I'm your host, Anne-Marie, and I'm here to talk about making your life less complicated, more simple, more enjoyable. And I'm here to talk to you today about how your summer's going. How's your summer going? How is it truly going? Is it going the way that you were hoping it would? I personally feel like panicking a little bit. This episode is dropping on July 25th. And holy smokes, July is just about over. Summer's half over, more than half over. How is that possible? It stresses me out a little bit, to be honest, because I feel like it just started. I feel like school just ended for my kids. We are just starting to get into a summer rhythm at home, and August is right around the corner. So I started panicking about that a little bit, and I was thinking that some of my listeners might be in the same boat. Summer is the perfect time to step back and pump the brakes on all the busyness, but somehow our world, it just never ceases to amaze me at how fast-paced things can get. I mean, the pressure is real. Outside, the commercial world loves to rush things, right? They're always a good season ahead of where we actually are, and it can make it hard to be present at times. The stores have been full of back-to-school supplies and Halloween costumes for weeks now. I don't even like stepping in Target because it just makes me panic that, it's the fall already. So I'm kind of avoiding stores like that right now, and I think it's okay. I just don't want to think about that season yet. I still want to enjoy the season that we're in, be mindful and present in my summer, and I want to relax a little bit more. I mean, we need to have structure in our summers. That is a given. A lot of us work. We have children at home. We have routines that are non-negotiable, but there is room to relax. I'll repeat that. There is room to relax. You might have to make it. You might have to even schedule it. It seems like we shouldn't have to schedule time to relax, but maybe you do. I actually sat down, looked at my calendar this morning. My family, we were so lucky. We had a beautiful trip to the UK for 2 weeks, but we haven't gotten to our Jersey Shore. We haven't gone to the beach yet, which is one of our favorite things to do in the summer. So I took out the calendar. I still use a paper calendar for things like that, and tried to find a few days that we could fit in some beach time, because that's important to me and my family. And we would regret a summer where we had no beach. What are ways that you can savor this season a little bit? What are some things that maybe you can tweak? I mean, it is the end of July, but summer's not over yet. And I had to remind myself that there's still several weeks left. And even just a day here and there added in some simple summer fun activities or relaxing activities can make such a difference. I think I often overthink things like this and think it has to be all or nothing. Oh, it has to be, a whole beach vacation. No, it can be an afternoon. It can be a day. It could be an hour doing something that makes you happy. So try to add these things in wherever you can. That's the approach that I'm going to take. Again, I've been struggling with this a little bit over the last couple weeks. And I think part of it is that, especially those of us that have kids at home for the summer, and we're running around, and we've just got a lot more living in our homes than we're used to during the school year. Things can take longer than we planned for. Everything can take, really, kids or no kids, everything tends to take longer than I think it's going to. I don't know about you. Maybe just having a little less on, that to-do list for the day, just keeping it really short and basic. Maybe that's what you need right now. I've decided that, sometimes I try to cram too much in. Maybe I can't work and get to the pool and get to the practice. And oh, yeah, also cook dinner. Maybe I can't do all of those things in one day as much as I'd like to. So just a little reframe and maybe adjusting the expectations for each day can be really helpful. And I know I talked last week about decluttering, talked a little bit about that. Definitely going to be talking more about that in the future on the podcast. But it does make such a big difference. So even if you take, again, it doesn't have to be a lot of time. Maybe you and your family take an hour, just an hour. Say, okay, we're going to do whatever we can for this hour and just put some stuff away, run a vacuum. That's cleaning, not decluttering, but all kind of on the same page of just making our space calming, more freeing, more relaxing, more enjoyable to be in. For me, having clutter on all the counters stresses me out a lot. So maybe it's just taking that stuff, putting it away, finding a spot for it. That's all. Try to do that quick declutter. And along the same lines, also see where you can declutter your schedule, your calendar. Maybe there's some stuff on there that you don't really need to do. Maybe you can put it off for next week or next season and fit that beach day in or whatever makes your heart happy in the summer. So I even got to the point where I wrote plan nothing on a couple weekend days because I noticed that there was a lot of activities creeping in there, all good things, fun things. We were excited to do them. But I also recognize that too many of those days in a row can leave me feeling pretty wiped out. So just writing plan nothing or do nothing on a day here and there, and you know that you're going to keep that open. And maybe you'll do nothing, or maybe you'll fill it in with just whatever you feel like doing that morning, but not having something scheduled for you that day and having that flexibility to do what your heart desires for that day. We don't get that a lot. It's nice to have that in the summer. Another way to just feel a little bit calmer and embrace summer is just to get outside a little bit more. New Jersey, it's been super hot and humid. I've had to either get outside earlier or later in the day because the afternoons were kind of brutal. So depending on where you're at, fit it in where you can. And it doesn't have to be a long time, but spending time in nature is such a great way to clear your head, feel more relaxed, and just enjoy this season. So see if you can get outside, lay in a hammock, go to the park, go to the pool, sit by a fire, campfire at night, make some s'mores, get outside. And lastly, we've talked a lot about fitting things in, but also take time to rest. I have found that I'm taking some naps here and there, not long, 15, 20 minutes, and it makes a difference. Just listening to your body more and knowing when you're tired, knowing when you need to take a break. I think sometimes in the summer, we need to do that a little bit more often because it's hot. When it's really hot outside, we tend to be just drained and it wipes you out quicker. So that's all. Just take a rest when you need it. Maybe clear your calendar for an evening so that you can go to bed earlier. Maybe you just take an extra rest during the day, whatever it is. Take time to rest, listen to your body, and I think you'll feel better. And I think I'll feel better. These are tips that I came up with to really try to implement myself in the coming weeks, as I just didn't like how summer felt like it was whizzing by. So I'm going to try these things and I will post about them a little bit on Instagram. Let's Slow Down 2023. I would love to have more of a discussion with all of you, hear what things are working for you, where you're still struggling, and maybe we can talk about that more in the coming weeks on some of the podcast episodes. So please share with me, please connect with me there. And I want to end today with a quote by one of my favorite authors, Roald Dahl. He said, "If I had my way, I'd remove January from the calendar altogether and have an extra July instead." So make the most of your last week of July and have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me for this episode of our Summer Short Series. I hope you can slow down enough this season to enjoy a summer full of simplicity and ease.